Hello student, this is Palla Darbari, your host, and you are watching Palla Darbari classes. This is chapter 5, Business Studies class 11th, Emerging Mode of Business. This is the second volume of the chapter, Emerging Mode of Business. In this chapter, we will discuss knowledge process outsourcing and business process outsourcing. Let us discuss firstly the meaning of business process outsourcing. Listen, many activities have to be performed for the successful conduct of business. To carry out the business, the producer has to do production, buying, selling, advertising, etc. When the scale of the business is very small, it becomes very easy for the businessman to carry out these activities. But with the enlargement of the scale of business, it becomes very difficult for the businessman to carry out these activities and to get the benefit of specialization. These services now obtained from outside the organization. So what is BPO? Hiring the services from outside the organization so that the benefit of specialization can be attained. That is called BPO. So when the size of the business large, most of the businessmen start looking for the BPO. It means hiring the services from outside the organization. Only the secondary activity should be hired from outside the organization. For the core activities, one should not look for the BPO. Try to understand it with the BPO. If the Reliance Industries Limited wants to advertise its Bimal brand of clothing, it may appoint Anmol Advertising Company. Why? Because they don't have the time period. So what the Anmol Advertising Company do? On behalf of the Reliance Industries Limited, Anmol Advertising Company design, prepare and release advertisement on its behalf and provide profit to the organization. Now let us see the need for BPO. The first need for the BPO is obtaining good quality services. If a company attempts to perform all the activities itself, there is a possibility that the quality will be compromised. Because the person is not all in all. The businessman is not good in performing all the activities. Unless until the huge investment will be incurred. So in order to avoid this difficulty, the need for obtaining services from outside is felt. So the businessmen look for BPO. The next is avoiding fixed investment in services. If a company attempts to get these services within the organization itself, if the organization, instead of hiring, they take the services within the organization, then huge investment has to be incurred by the organization. Therefore, it appears justified to get these services from outside the organization at a little cost. Because if we hire these services, the business organization is in the position to save money or finance. The next is smooth running of business. Outsourcing of services is needed. Why it is needed? In order to run the business smoothly. Because when we hire the services, the businessman has the time period to concentrate more on core activities. So the chances of expansion of the business is. Now let us see the scope of BPO. Let us see the services that we hire: financial services, advertising services, courier services, and customer care services. Let us see the first one, that is the financial services. These services meant those outside services which help the company in arrangement of or in the management of finance. So the businessman hired the financial services to carry out the accounting work, to decide from where the fund should be raised or where to invest the money. The next one is advertising services. Listen, advertisement is very necessary for increasing sales. If this service is obtained from outside agency, it will cost less and the quality of advertisement will also be good. The next one is courier services. These services meant delivering goods, documents, parcels from the company to customers and vice versa. The next is customer support services. These services mean delivering goods to customers and to give after sales services also. Generally, the manufacturer of TV, fridge, AC, etc. use these services. This is the very commonly hired services. Now let us see the concept of KPO. KPO refers to obtaining high-end knowledge from outside the organization in order to run the business successfully and effectively and efficiently carried out the business activities. So what is KPO? KPO is obtaining high-end knowledge so that the business can be run successfully and the objectives of the business can be attained effectively and efficiently. Like conventional BPO, where the focus is on process expertise, KPO focus is on knowledge expertise. Now let us see the features of KPO. It is upward shift of BPO. It is the updation of BPO. Second one is it focuses on knowledge expertise instead of process expertise. The next is it provides all non-case activities. Next is it has no predetermined process to reach to conclusion. Next is it offers an alternative career path for the educated. Let us see the scope of KPO. First is in the case of research and technical assistance analysis, KPO concept is used. In the case of business and technical analysis, KPO services are used. Then business and marketing research and animation and design. In these occasions we are using the KPOs. Now let us see the difference between BPO and KPO. First is definition. What is KPO? Hiring the services from outside the organization to carry out the business activities is called BPO. And what is KPO? KPO means hiring the knowledge so that the business activities can be carried out effectively and efficiently. Carried out the business activities and hiring the knowledge. So in the case of BPO, what we do? Hiring the services from outside the organization, hiring the knowledge from outside the organization. Let us see, the BPO stands for business process outsourcing, whereas KPO stands for knowledge process outsourcing. In the case of BPO, we need good communication skill and basic computer knowledge, whereas in the case of KPO, specialized knowledge is mandatory. In the case of BPO, the services are low-end services, whereas in the case of KPO, the high-end services are needed. In the BPO, the focus is on predetermined process, and here the focus is on process knowledge. Let us see the type of the employees. In the case of the BPO, qualified employees are not needed, whereas in the case of the KPO, skilled and expertise knowledge of the employees is needed. Next is expertise in. Here the person should be expertised in process, here the expertised in knowledge. Relies on, in the case of BPO relies on cost average, in the case of KPO relies on knowledge average. Driving force is volume driven, and here in the case of KPO insight driven. Let us discuss the miscellaneous. The first is, let us see the difference between traditional business and the e-business. First is ease of formation. Listen, it is very easy, difficult to start the traditional business. Firstly, we carried out the research work, we decide the place from where we carried out the business activities, hire the employees, take the interview, hire the employees, lengthy process. Whereas it is very easy to start the e-business. Cost, huge investment is being needed in the case of traditional business, because we have to hire the labor, we have to construct a building, we have to go for the interior, purchase the machineries, furniture, etc. Huge investment is needed. But in the case of the e-business, only the computer should be purchased, or little money at the time of creating the website has to be paid. So here the investment is low. Next is physical presence. It requires physical presence, whereas in the case of e-business, it does not require physical presence. Next one is business process and the length of cycle. The business process cycle is long, whereas in the case of e-business, the business process cycle is short. Next is government patronage. Here in the case of the traditional business, the government patronage is declining, whereas in the case of e-business, the government patronage is increasing. Next is ease of global access. Here the ease of global access is less. In the case of e-business, it is more. I mean, much as cyberspace is without boundary. So here the scope of e-business access is much. Then nature of contract between the supplier and the contractor. Here the nature of contract is indirect. Why? Because customers interact with the manufacturer through the retailers. So here the contract between the manufacturer and the customer or the final consumer is indirect. But in the case of the e-business, the manufacturer directly interact with the consumer. So the contract between the manufacturer and the final consumer is direct. Now let us see the limitations of electronic mode. The first limitation is low personal touch. Listen, in the case of the goods like garments, toiletries, etc., the personal touch is needed, because personally the person check the garments by touching it, see the toiletries, and after exploring it, the person decide whether he will purchase or not. And e-business is not suitable for such products. The next is incongruence between order taking, giving, and order fulfillment speed. See, information can flow at the click of the mouse, but the physical delivery of the product takes time, and this incongruence may play on the patience of the customers, and this is the main reason why the customers place the order and the consumer cancel the order, because they don't have the patience. The next limitation is need for technological capabilities. In the case of the traditional or e-business, the knowledge of the computer is mandatory, which is not found in the case of traditional business. Next is increasing risk due to anonymity and the non-traceability of the partners. Listen, there is always be a risk factor found in e-business. Why? Because suppliers and the consumers are not in contact with each other. The supplier or the manufacturer don't know whether the consumer exists or not. In the same way, the consumers not even know whether the supplier or the manufacturer exists. So there is always be a risk factor. For the supplier, there is a risk factor that will I get the delivery? Will I get the final payment at the time of delivery or not? Or the consumer has played a crack? Has he played a prank, or I will get the payment? So there is always a risk factor. In the case of the consumer, there is always a risk factor. What is the risk factor? If the consumer has made the payment at the time of placing the order, so there is a risk factor. Will I get the delivery? Will I get the same quality product as being shown to me? People resist because of hacking, because of cyber crimes. So people resist that e-business is not good, not suitable. Let us see the ethical concerns involved in outsourcing. The first is confidentiality. When a company outsources any of its function, it has to share a lot of information and the knowledge with outsourcing partner. He may not preserve the confidentiality. If the company adopt outsourcing of complete process or product, there is further risk that the outsourcing partner may tip off the information to their competitors. So the secrecy cannot be maintained. The next is using child labor and non-following labor laws. That is very common under the e-commerce. The next is resentment in the countries. When the MNCs contract out manufacturing, marketing, accounting, R&D, etc. to developing countries, it may create resentment in the home country. It means that the job will fall in the home country. The people from developed countries may not like that their job will be cut and their job should be given to the people of the developing nations. That's all I have in this video. Thanks for watching. God bless you all. Dear subscribers, if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe the channel and don't forget to press the bell icon, so that whenever I upload the new video, you get the notification.